It was a typical cold and rainy night in Chicago as I sat down to write up my report on the missing person case I just closed. And boy, what a case it was. It seemed like a lot of so-called dubious citizens, gangsters, had been disappearing without a trace. But in Chicago, people just don't get lost. They usually end up dead. And there are many ways to erase a body in this town. This so-called disappearance was of one Vinny Silva, better known as the enforcer for Boss Red Malone. The department and I weren't on the best of terms, so I guess that's why they handed me Detective Sam Steele the case. I decided to head down to the Blue Note Lounge, a high-class establishment where the jazz flowed like bourbon and secrets wear lipstick, and there I saw Evelyn DeWitt. She was more trouble than a loaded gun in a crowded room. She was sizing up her next well-heeled mark. She was the kind of dame who left many a Johnny in her wake. She strutted across to join the band. As they played slowly, she began to sing. Her soft and enchanting voice would make saints sweat and sinners take up religion. I caught her eye, and as she left the spotlight, I thought it was a good time for a little powwow. So I got right to the point. One of Malone's boys is missing, and word on the street says you were the last one to see him alive. Did he tell you something big enough to get him iced? She played with me.
You always had a nose for corpses with complications,
she told me, staring me in the eye. He is dead. I fired back at her.
Who knows?
She answered rather coyly.
Did you ever think that maybe it's not a hood, but a fellow Flatfoot you're looking for?
I knew she was lying, but maybe there was something hidden in her words. But then she added,
Sam, you better watch your back. You'd be better off if you let Silva sleep like the dirty dog he was.
Was she warning me or just leading me on? I wasn't sure. I kept wondering why my captain sent me on this wild goose chase. I started out on a long walk to think when my walk was cut short. Out of the darkness came some of Boss Malone's boys, led by no other than Frank Calder, the head captain of Malone's mob. He had half the force in his pocket. With a menacing look, he barked,
You should keep your nose out of this, Steele. This isn't even your beat. It isn't healthy.
I stood firmly, but inside I knew I was outnumbered. A cop can also just seem to disappear. So, with false bravery, I told him I didn't like being threatened. We stood there, face to face in silence, with the sound of rats battling over the trash. He stared me down a moment longer.
Remember, I've got eyes all over town.
He left with his muscle, leaving me standing there. I felt a cold chill, colder than meat, hanging on a hook in a butcher's freezer, go down my back. Things were getting weird, with the department breathing down my neck to find Silva, and the mob insisting I look the other way. When wouldn't you know that one of my most trusted stoolies, Snorty McFadden, showed up? Snorty was always ready to bend my ear of what he learns on the street for a double-saw buck. He told me the cops had fished Silva's body out of the river, and they were keeping the news under wraps. So now I was chasing a ghost. And better yet, that Boss Malone was purging his organization of those he believed had plans to kill him and take over his empire. All with the cooperation of higher-ups in the department. And if I got snuffed along the way, nobody would be the wiser. I really like breathing air. Yeah, it would be easy to play along, join the other bad apples, and hope I survive. But that's not what I did. Instead, I mailed a copy of Snorty's signed statement to the DA's office and decided to take my chances with Boss Red Malone and get out of this alive. I got a call from Snorty informing me that Boss Malone and some of his goons were down at the Blue Note Lounge, living it up like it was a speakeasy back in the day. It was time for a showdown. I called a few of my fellow detective friends to wait outside, hidden in the alley. I thought that if I told Malone that Chicago was his ballpark and I was ready to join the team, maybe, just maybe, I could buy a few days to live until the DA opened his mail. So, there I was, face to face with Red Malone, pleading my case.
What do you know about Shorty McFadden?
He's just a two-bit hustler. Always looking for a score, I answered.
Shorty's in the back room, dead as a doornail.
O'Grady, One of the henchmen spat in my face.
He sang like a canary. Then I sliced his throat.
I knew I had just struck out like swinging at a Ted Lyons fastball when all hell broke loose. The room lit up like fireworks on the 4th of July. Guns flared and bullets flew across the room. When it was over, all but one of Malone's goons lay dead on the ground.
Don't kill me! I'll tell you anything! Anything at all!
Faster than a roach running for cover, Boss Malone had been dethroned. Evelyn stared in horror, realizing her meal ticket had been punched. I had all the pieces sealed tight, like a kid's cheap Mickey Mouse puzzle still in the wrapper. In the end, Red Malone was quick to give up my captain along with several other bad apples in exchange for a cushy jail cell and a light sentence. For a while, the department seemed a little cleaner, but it wasn't long before a new boss emerged with plenty of dough to rot some more apples. You know I like Chicago, but once I've turned in my report, I think I'll blow this town. I heard things were quieter in Las Vegas. Who knows? I might hit it big at the Perro Dice Club.